This episode is sponsored by Bayer and PPG.
So the third thing you said was that from this, we need to come up with a plan to do that. Because, I'll tell you that I don't think it's going to be difficult to convince most of our listeners that they should be, stepping into business ownership, that they should be removing themselves from the as much of the work and the operating as possible. I don't think that that's going to be too difficult to convince our listeners, and many of them are already there. But what I would, posit, especially for those people who are listening that have already delegated themselves out of the production, you may not have delegated yourself out of the sales. You may not have delegated yourselves out of marketing. You may not have delegated yourselves out of finances. In my opinion, you don't delegate yourself out of leadership. That's my opinion. I think you always have to lead. You don't have to lead every single person on your team, but I think that you should have conversations with them. I mean, I was listening to a Gary V talk the other day, and he said that his goal, he's got 800 employees, and his goal is to have a 15-minute conversation with every single employee in his organization. Okay, so I don't think that you need to delegate yourself out of the leadership. I don't think that you can. I don't think that you should. But certainly, to what you're saying, the operational tasks, the day-to-day things that, if they're relying squarely on your shoulders, and if you are the last person, if you're the only person that can get that thing done, and everybody else is waiting on you, whether you die or not, okay, whether you show up every day, you're gonna run out of capacity to do the thing. And so I think that our listeners are with you on that. I'm with you on that. But easier said than done. Okay, there's a massive labor shortage. It's difficult to find good people. We need a plan. You said we need a plan. What is our plan?
Yeah, awesome. Great question. So to your point, there are two things that a business owner is responsible for once we've gone through all the stuff we've just discussed. The first, and they're both what you mentioned. The first is, what's the strategic direction of the organization? What's the big picture plan? And taking care of the team. When we take care of the team then takes care of everything else. So all of that sounds great. And I agree with you. Most people, head nod when I share that idea and say, yep, that's exactly what I would like. But right, I've been trying to do that and it seems impossible. Well, so Action Coach is a franchise. We've, looked around the world over the last 29 years and figured out how are all the great companies run and what are all the best practices and processes and procedures and how-tos that great companies use to run those well-oiled machines. And we've turned that into what we call the 6 steps to building a better business.
Okay.
And so now it's a process of, here are the things that need to be done. Now, it's not a cookie cutter approach, right? So each client we work with, right, we look at, let's evaluate where you're strong and where your opportunities are. And that's where we would focus. So let me just walk through those 6 steps.